Hello and welcome. Joining us today on the show is Mr. Rajiv Bajaj, Managing Director of India's second largest two-wheeler manufacturing company, Bajaj Auto. Thank you so much for talking to us, sir.
Sure.
Firstly, to start off with, it's a festive season, so I guess this is absolutely the right time to talk to you about how the festive season has actually done for the company, since most of the manufacturers are hoping that the festive season would possibly bring in some hopes back on the two-wheeler sector as well,
Sure.
which is kind of seen sales declining. So how has it been so far? First, if you could give us a sense on that.
We're a week into the Navratras. We anticipated for Bajaj to have about a 30% uptick in volumes in terms of our retail sales. And from what we have seen in the first week, I think we are on course for that. So from this point of view, it has to be said it's very positive. Having said that, we are now more or less flat as compared with last year, with the same period of the festive season last year. So it's still not a growth over the previous year. So in that sense, there is still a feeling of something more should have happened. But given that the industry was in a negative zone pre-festive, at least this 1 week is looking more hopeful. Having said that, I would also say that the festive season is bound to be better for those who have newer products out there that have been accepted. So in our case, we launched 3 motorcycles, one each in April, May and June, and they've all been very successful. So I would suspect that perhaps we are doing a little better than some of the others are.
Okay, talking about your numbers as well, your Q2 numbers have been better than the Q1, so that has to be largely because of the price hikes also you have taken. But if you could give us a sense that, especially your margins when we talk about, that's been close to about 19%, and give us a sense on what led such good numbers largely. Will these margins be sustainable going forward?
Even when volumes fall a bit, our volumes year on year fell, if I remember right, about 10%. But we don't lose any economies of scale. We don't suddenly start suffering diseconomies of scale, because our fixed costs are so low that a little drop in volume here and there doesn't really impact the bottom line. So pricing power at the front end, a variabilized lean structure at the back end. These 2 pillars are responsible for the consistency in our margins. I think this quarter represents perhaps the 12th or 14th quarter in a row that we've been around the 20% mark. From this point of view, I would say that although it's hard to predict the future, but I expect us to continue to be in this zone. Definitely in Q3, because Q3 volumes will be higher than Q1 and Q2, and hopefully also for the last quarter of the year.
Last month announced a Discover to be in the #1 position, overtaking Hero's Splendor. So I guess Hero MotoCorp has also come back again, saying that it was just a 1-month thing where Discover has taken over Splendor, which has been for many decades now. So if you could just give us a sense on how do you read this? I mean, you think this momentum is going to continue going forward with the Discover brand?
Well, nobody knows the future. But everybody knows the past. If we go back to July 09, when we first launched the Discover 100, and then after that the Discover 150 and the Discover 125. But the first of the 3 Discovers was launched in July 09. At that time, if my memory serves me right, Bajaj was doing only about 20,000 Discovers a month. I'm not sure what Hero was doing, but I would guess it would be somewhere around 150 to 200,000 Splendors a month. I don't know exactly what they were doing then. More recently, till about 6 months back, I believe Splendor volumes were in excess of 250,000 a month. This is also a fact. The third fact is that in the month of September, Discover was about 122,000 or so, and Splendor was only 120,000. Now, these are facts that show in the last 3 years, since July 09, how rapidly Discover volumes have risen, and Splendor volumes have been more gradual in their rise, have then flattened out, and have then fallen very sharply. This nobody can dispute because it's all in the past. So while it is hard to say who will be ahead in October or November or December, I think I would not be wrong in saying that Discover and Splendor would be neck to neck. Now whether one is 5 or 10,000 units ahead of the other or behind, I don't think that is the real issue. The issue is of a trend rather than of an absolute figure. So that's as far as that is concerned. In terms of new product launch, we will launch a new 100cc motorcycle, hopefully by December of this year. The motorcycle we are about to launch is by far the most advanced. It will also be the most expensive because it has several features that make it so. And I'm hopeful that if this meets with the kind of success that our recent launches, like the Discover 125 ST and the Pulsar 200 NS have met, then I think that will further serve to facilitate our cause of getting ahead in the race without ever compromising margins.
Right. So talking about the new Discover 100cc which you're planning to launch, and you're telling that it's going to be premium both in terms of pricing and technology. So we understand that it's going to be premium in terms of technology, but when you talk about a 100cc bike and you're talking it's going to be an expensive bike as well, the perception would possibly of an Indian consumer would still be that, when you have to pay for a 100cc bike, and why do we pay more? Why not go to another competitor where you get a 100cc bike at a cheaper rate? So how do you think that perception you'd manage to change with the new Discover 100cc bike?
See, first of all, I didn't say it's a Discover 100. I just said it's a new 100cc bike.
Right, I get that.
It is our belief that there are people, in fact 65% of all motorcycle buyers in India are still buying a 100cc motorcycle. The balance 35% buy anything from 125cc above. Now in the 125cc plus segment, Bajaj is already the market leader. We have more than 40% share. But in the 100cc, Hero is still clearly the leader. So there seems to be a large section of 100cc buyers who are ready to pay a little more. When I say a little more, I mean about 5% more. You're quite right to suggest this is not the premium market that people pay 50% more. But if they pay 5% more, they can get a motorcycle which offers much, much more. And what do they want more of? They want more style. They are bored with what is available. They want more performance. They don't like the fact that a 100cc motorcycle cannot have a good feeling in terms of a ride feel. And of course, they want to have more mileage if they can have that. I think we have managed to put together exactly such a motorcycle. You
said it's not a Discover 100cc, but so are you trying to tell us that this is going to be a different platform altogether that you're working on, or it could be a new brand?
I want all of you to keep guessing so that we can get more and more PR, which is cheaper than advertising. What I'm saying so far is that it needn't necessarily be the Discover brand. I'm not saying it's not, but I don't want to say it is. I think it's too early to reveal that because we are still 2 months away. And fundamentally there are three choices before us. It could be the Discover. It could be a new Platina, because at 40,000 units a month, the Platina has a very strong position in the mind of 100cc buyers. And it could even be a new brand, which is what I think you were trying to refer to in saying a new platform. It could be a new brand if we think it has a special attribute that merits being a new brand.
Just wanted to understand, does this new brand, like you said, it could be a new brand, is it coming on the back of the learning from how Splendor, which has been there for decades, and now it's kind of seeing a decline in its sales? So is Bajaj now kind of getting a learning from that and then started looking at different brands altogether, or this was a part of a strategy that Bajaj was possibly considering for quite some time?
No, I'm not saying it's a new brand, but all I'm saying is the brand and the product are not the same thing. The product is a physical thing that comes out of the platform. The brand is a position in the mind of the customer. What is important for us to ask ourselves is, if we wish to approach a consumer who is thinking of buying a Hero or a Honda motorcycle, and we want to distract him sufficiently so that he looks at us. So far he's not willing to look at us. And we want to do that. What's the best way to do that? We are saying to ourselves the best way to do that is to tell him this is the best 100cc motorcycle in the world for reasons A, B, C. See, as far as Splendor is concerned, I hope those who are watching this program will not consider it rude if I say that I think the Splendor has gone the way of the Chetak. You know, the Chetak was our scooter. It was very dominant for 2 decades at least, but somewhere it did not evolve sufficiently in line with the marketplace. Over time it became irrelevant. Eventually people got bored of it and slowly it faded away. I know this because I was in the company in the mid-90s when this process started, and it was a matter of 2 to 3 years. You know, once the trickle starts, it takes only a couple of years to become a flood. From the first signs of distress for the Chetak, it took less than 2 or 3 years for the Chetak to be wiped out. You know, so this is what happens with brands that are market leaders. It is not easy to shake them, but once the consumer starts losing interest, it is very hard to regain his attention. To my mind, something similar is happening with the Splendor. Since its introduction in 1993, it has dominated the motorcycle scene for 20 years. From my perspective, through my eyes as I see it, I think it did not evolve sufficiently. So what I see is not a decline, I see a shift. And a shift suggests very interesting times. Because as we all know, Honda is very aggressively in the market now. Bajaj wants to do its best with motorcycles. And the market is split wide open because consumers who until yesterday, as per an advertisement hero used to run, used to close their eyes, you know, and buy the Splendor. I think their eyes are open now. So I think this is the most interesting and exciting time for the motorcycle market.
We'll slip into a short break now, but coming up after the break, we shall discuss where the industry is going from here on, with Hero and Honda, both of them having aggressive rollout plans.